is the 77 WABC minicast.
That the United States is very much in a compromised position compared to where we were 5 years ago. Our relationships with our allies are strained. Our commitment and demonstrated consistency on democratic values, human rights, also incredibly strained. And our domestic situation, I think, is reflecting globally as well, particularly economically. Skyrocketing inflation, tariffs, of course, have hurt Americans, and it has hurt and had a negative impact on the United States globally as well. Ambassador.
James Golan Snerdley with you here. Saturday morning vibe. Let's head to the telephones. Jay in Southampton, New York. Welcome. How are you this morning, Jay?
Good morning, James. Thank you for taking my call. I really appreciate it, and it's a privilege to speak to you.
Thank you.
Real quick, I've been in law enforcement for about 26 years, and I've looked at some of the things that the Democrats are asking for ICE, and I don't agree with the mask removal. I happen to agree with the fact of wearing body cams. Now, when I started in law enforcement, we didn't have body cams. It was a whole different world. But we've seen since the implementation of body cams that actually officer complaints for misconduct or things go down because the camera actually validates the actions of the officer and shows the actions of the interaction that are actually documented.
I could not agree with you more. I'm in a way, I wish that there were more body cams for more of the ICE agents that were available earlier, because I think some of this business that has gone through people using edited clips from their phone or catching an event midway and then framing it the way they want to I think a lot of that could have been dispelled with body cams. I think body cams are great. And by the way, I just want to get your reaction to this too. You're in law enforcement. Two ICE officers have been suspended because of an incident in Minneapolis. They may have lied under oath. That's what is being alleged. A recent review of video evidence, which goes right to your point, reveal that the officers appear to have made untruthful statements in sworn testimony given in part of a case of two men that were charged, including a shooting victim. And so the charges against the guy were dismissed, and now these two officers have been suspended. That is the right thing that happens, right? And I'm sure as a law enforcement person yourself, you don't want to see abuses, or you don't, and I separate abuses from things that happen where there's a dispute about them, but the officers are acting with the best intent and everything else. That's a different case. I'm talking about real abuses. And what is your position as a person that has been in law enforcement about these sorts of incidents?
I think that any incidents of untruthfulness or deception by law enforcement is a stain on every officer that's ever worn a shield. It is absolutely horrible. We are given the public trust. We are actually given immense power out there that has to be tempered with the pursuit of justice. I mean, we are not we're enforcers of the law. We just bring the people to go to the judiciary to answer for the alleged offenses. And we have to serve the public with honor, and we have to uphold the highest moral value and have the greatest moral compass to serve the public trust. And any breach of that should be met with harsh repercussions for people that can't handle that.
And do you believe that most of your fellow law enforcement officers think the same way you do?
100%. I can tell you that every officer I've ever served with in my 26-year career have been noble people. We're out here doing a job. We're here to serve the public. We are here to make sure the public are able to enjoy their liberties. It's as ironic as it may seem, it's a job, just like someone goes to their job on Wall Street. My job is to come out here and enforce the law with no prejudice in the interest of the public to ensure public safety. That's my job. I don't do it with passion. I don't do it with prejudice. I don't do it with any personal agenda. I'm a neutral party. I'm only there to have people answer for their actions.
Let me ask you about that, and I'm not asking you because because I disbelieve what you're saying, but I do want to ask you some questions about that. When you say you can do this job with no prejudice, right? How is that possible? And let me give you an example. People in law enforcement like yourself, you see the worst of the worst of the worst on a daily basis. You see things in detail that most of us never see, but we read about, but you actually see it. You see what happens when people are treated in the most horrible fashions imaginable by other human beings. So for the people that for the officers that work, let's say in crime-ridden communities, how is it possible to maintain a sense of objectivity when what you're seeing is the worst every day, and you're also seeing the people that commit the worst of the worst every day? How do you maintain a level of objectivity?
So it's very difficult. It's seeing people that constantly lie to you. How I do it is I treat every situation as a unique situation. I try to leave the emotional baggage at home. I try to have a good work-life balance, which most officers have a hard time doing. But again, I look at it as it's a job. Well, it's more of a calling, excuse me. I take the honor of putting on my uniform every day as a very deep honor. And I treat everybody with empathy, and I try to make sure I'm tactically sound with my officers when I'm working. And I always try and keep a 1,000-mile view of the overview of the situation so I don't become personally involved. When we see officers getting personally involved or invoking personal emotions, that's when we can see a reaction that would be inconsistent with policy. So I think if officers just remain in almost like a professional detachment, we're not personally involved. Yes, we see horrible things, but at the end of the day, whether I'm performing CPR on an individual that's down, or if I'm initiating a traffic stop that goes sideways, it's business. I can't let it get personal. If I find myself getting amped up, we have mechanisms in the organization that the officer will say, hey, you know what, you're getting a little too amped up here, step back. And we'll let another officer come in. You'll get a cooling off period, and then you'll continue. And to illustrate that point is, in my career, I've had over 650 arrests. I've had 2 uses of force.
Whoa!
That's where it comes down that I treat everybody as a individual. Even if they've committed a crime, it doesn't take the human element away. They're going to answer in the judiciary for me, not for me. I'm not there to dole out punishment.
When this is profound, what you just said. Let me ask you this. What is the scariest situation that you've ever faced out in the streets? You said you've had your arrest, over 650 arrests. What is the scariest situation that you ever faced?
Well, which way are you going? Are you talking with personal danger, that there would be a criminal element, or entering a burning building to go get somebody?
Oh, man. And you've had to enter a burning building?
Yes.
Do you hesitate? Do you say, maybe I'm going to get killed if I do this? What happens when you're confronted with that?
Well, I can tell you in my instance, when I was driving my patrol vehicle, I saw smoke coming out of a residence, and it really didn't. I saw that there was a vehicle in the driveway, and I had to make entry through the back of the building. The building was actually completely charged with smoke, and you really didn't think about it. You went inside. You had somebody in there. You thought you had somebody in there, and we were able to get an older female from her second floor of her bedroom where she was, and she had her door closed.
She would have died if you hadn't been on the scene.
Maybe.
Most likely. Okay. That's amazing. You know, I thank you for sharing so much. When you see ICE agents and these ICE agents under attack the way they are, what goes through your mind?
I'm actually deeply concerned with the state of the country. We are, they're my brothers and sisters in blue. We all do a very dangerous job. We try to do it to the highest level of public trust, and seeing the public turn on us and see how dangerous it becomes because they escalate situations that don't need to be escalated. I think that's very distressing.
You see any way out?
Well, when I was in the academy, the instructors used to tell us, just don't take it personal, and the time for argument isn't on the street, it's in the courtroom. If you don't agree with what the law enforcement officer is doing to you, comply at that time and have a payday. That's why we have lawyers. That's why we have a court system. If an officer takes an incorrect action on the street, the time to argue is not on the street when that arrest is being effected. It's in the courtroom, and you let an attorney handle it.
Boom. Jay, what a great, thank you for spending so much time with us and speaking so plainly about your life as a law enforcement officer. And for many of us, we hold what you do in awe. I could not do what you do. I couldn't do it. The people that do this for a living and that do this to put your own lives at risk to help other people, you are a special lot in life. And you guys deserve, and women deserve, nothing but praise instead of the vitriol that you get from so many corners in this society. And thank you so much.
It has been in my absolute honor, and I just want to remind people out there, our law enforcement officers are just ordinary people doing extraordinary things on a daily basis, and it has truly been my honor to speak with you, and thank you very much for your support.
Thank you. That's Jay from Southampton, New York, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, the holidays have come and gone once again, but if you've forgotten to get that special someone in your life a gift, well, Mint Mobile is extending their holiday offer of half off unlimited wireless. So here's the idea. You get it now. You call it an early present for next year. What do you have to lose? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Limited time, 50% off regular price for new customers. Upfront payment required. $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan. Taxes and fees extra. Speeds may slow after 50 gigabytes per month when network is busy. See terms.